Okay, so we are all here this morning to learn more about accelerated program that our campus offers as an option. So that means you need to have a child development BA along with 2 teaching credentials, multiple subject credential, as well as mild, moderate education specialist credential. So that's the information session that we're gonna go. And 3 of us work as a facilitator today. And at the end, if you have any questions, we will try to answer, okay? And I am Dr. Mitchell, and I'm the program coordinator for dual credentials. And
I'm Kristen Alexander, and I'm the undergraduate program coordinator for child development.
And
I'm Kimberly Biddle, and I'm a professor in child development.
And she's been very supportive of these information sessions. Okay. Now, what is the ACT pathway? You are here to get credentials much earlier than other regular students who pursue child development BA plus 2 credentials. Currently, it's a 6 years program. 4 years for BA, 2 years for the 2 credentials. This program offers as 4.5 years of credential programs. It's a good deal for students. And the reason that we developed this program, its pathway, is to meet the needs of specialists in this area, because we need a lot of specialists, and especially Malmot, area, because that's the high incidence disabilities where teachers need the most. Okay, and it's a complete and dual credential program. So you will be, saving 1.5 or 2 years. All right. So roadmap. I am going to ask. Yes. Start.
I'm going to interrupt real quick because another question I've been getting is whether you'd be eligible for the master's. We have MAT programs now in the credential program, and so once you're done with your credentials, you would also have the option of completing the additional coursework to get your master's. So, go ahead.
Yes.
Do you guys take additional units towards the master's, like other credential programs?
Yes, so the new MAT program is such that when you complete your BA, you'll apply to the MAT program even if you don't want to get your master's, and that will be your entry into the credential courses, and then if you choose to complete your master's, then you would already be in the program to do that.
And in the teaching credential program, you are taking already the 5 courses, 15 units toward the 2-year master's degree.
Perfect. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it just blends right in.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very detailed roadmap that at some point you may want all these details, but I'm just going to focus on the first 2 years and then kind of a general overview of these later years. What you're doing in the first 2 years is completing all your GE coursework possible, so your lower division coursework, your graduation requirements, language, things like that. But we also are asking you to complete the prerequisites for the ACT pathway. So that's Child Development 30 or 35, so that is child or human development. Child Development 35F is a fieldwork class, so for transfer students it's called something different, but it's that elementary fieldwork course. FACS 50 is family and community. And then toward the end of your second year, if possible, and we'd like to support you getting into these, you would want to take Education 100A and B, which is special education kind of intro and bilingual education, at 170, and health sciences, which actually is called public health right now, so they switched, so it's PUBH 136 at this point. So you'll want to have these classes done. If you don't have these 2 done, you still are eligible to apply this cycle. You just would need to plan to take these in the summer. So if you're admitted to the pathway and you have not yet taken these courses, you do need to take them before you start your credential coursework, which you'll see it starts right off the bat in the fall of your first semester in the pathway. So again, if you're going to take these courses toward the end of your sophomore year, you'll need some advising help to get into those because they're very impacted courses. But for students who are interested in this pathway, we have saved some spots for those students. So make sure you talk to myself or an advisor specifically about this pathway. Otherwise, you will likely not get into these courses on this timeline. But you can take them in the summer, and on the application there's a place to say, I'm going to plan to take these in the summer. Okay, so this is also the point at which you're applying for the ACT pathway. So you're also taking and passing your CBEST. So I've also been getting some questions. I haven't taken the CBEST yet. Can I still apply? You can still apply, but what we would ask is that you provide evidence that you have signed up for the CBEST. But then again, your admittance to the credential courses would be contingent on passing. So it's ideal if you've already taken it and passed so that you know you're set to go in there. Also, you're applying for your certificate of clearance. That's the fingerprinting. And unfortunately, it doesn't count if you did your fingerprinting for 35F or for your fieldwork course. It's a very specific through the teacher credentialing office that you need to apply for the certificate of clearance. You don't need to have it yet, but you need to have applied for it when you apply for the pathway. And then by February 1st, if you're applying to begin your credential coursework in August, then you will submit your application by February 1st for the ACT pathway. So we're going to talk about all the details of submitting that application next. But then in about end of March, early April, you'll find out whether you're on this pathway because we want to let you know in time to register for courses. So we'll help you with all of this coursework. If you identified that you're on the ACT pathway early enough and you haven't yet taken Child Development 133 or 123, we have an alternative methods class that you can take. If you've already taken one or the other, it's totally fine as well. So we'll work with you on advising once you're on the pathway. Your child development coursework is going to be completed, and it's somewhat flexible, just as it has been when you're choosing your courses. And so you'll still need to complete all that coursework. But then these blue are credential courses. Those credential courses are cohorted such that you will be enrolled automatically in all of these courses if you're on the ACT pathway. All of these courses for fall, all of these for spring, all of these for fall, spring, fall. So it's going to kind of move like that. Which child development courses you fill in and how you do so is a lot more flexible. So you may choose to take some courses in the summer. Those are options. But for your credential courses, they'll need to be as they're laid out here. Does that make sense? So once you get to 120 units and you've completed all your child development requirements, which we anticipate will be about right here, you'll graduate with your bachelor's degree. So during that final semester, you'll also be applying for the credential program because you can't take credential courses if you're not enrolled in a program. So you want to complete your bachelor's degree and then you'll move right into the credential program. So you'll be considered a post-baccalaureate student for about 2 semesters here to complete your credentials. And then if you choose to continue on to complete the master's, then you have a semester off to find a job, work. Our students are very employable. They really need students out in the field. So we have little doubt that you'll be able to probably find a job in that spring, and then you'll wrap up your master's that following year.
So usually before you complete your dual credential program, most students nowadays have a tendency to get a job, which means the district cannot wait to hire you, so they will give you a job as an intern teacher, which means you are still in our program as a student. However, you are teaching full-time in special education as a mild specialist, but you are intern teachers. So you get to pay for salary and all the benefits. while you are completing the, probably last year of your program, okay?
Okay, any questions about the roadmap? So the major things are before you get on the pathway and applying and fulfilling all those requirements, because then one thing that's built into your first year on the ACT pathway are these two courses, Education 190A and B, and those are kind of support classes where we're going to help you think about the CSET exam and how to pass it and which areas you need to study more, how to develop your identity as a teacher, as a special education teacher, and just kind of talk through some of those experiences as well as some advising. So
Yeah.
we're going to make sure you're in the right courses and fulfilling all the requirements to graduate with your bachelor's in child development, as well as complete all the requirements for your credentials.
So if we have enough students, at least 15 to 20, to start, this fall, then we may have a cohorted program for ACT itself. However, if we don't have that number, then you will be taking these blue-colored credential courses with regular teaching credential candidates. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why the way that we laid those courses offerings out is that you will start to work on the fundamental and the foundational classes from here, year 3. These are the courses while you are taking 190A and B. 190A and B are specific courses for ACT and other students as well for child development or for ACT.
We'll see.
Okay, we just developed.
You'll be
new
our
courses.
first group, so
Yes, so that we can teach while we are advising. We can also support you in a very specific way. Yes. And then you will be taking some of the specialist credential courses while you are also taking the multiple subject credential. Then you will be completing, specialist credential first, followed by the multiple subject credential. Okay. So you will get 2 credentials. It's kind of a blended, but it's very specifically aligned based on the pedagogies that you have to follow through. We scaffolded. Yes. Okay.
So this just kind of reviews, kind of getting into the application. So we have a slide here, what do you need to think about in advance? And then the next slide is kind of what you need to think about right now or maybe a few weeks ago. So things to think about at least one semester before. You always want to keep an eye on your GPA because there is a minimum GPA requirement. But then the prerequisite courses, this goes along with what I was just saying with the roadmap. So these are the courses that were listed there that we're specifically going to be looking for. Again, these 2 are 2 that can be taken in the summer, but the remainder of those courses need to be completed. Prerequisite experiences and exams, you need 45 hours of age-relevant experience. If you have more, that's great. But you can use your 35F hours, so your fieldwork hours in the elementary school. You'll also get some hours, a few hours from some of those other courses. So those are all hours you can use to count for these experiences.
Right. 170 requires your lab work, and 100A B section is 30 hours in the field. So you will have plenty of hours to put them together.
And if for some reason these are in progress when the application is due, then give us the information about what you have planned for this semester. And again, it would be kind of that contingent acceptance based on your completing those hours. We may need to get a letter from that supervisor if you didn't have that experience reference for your application. But if you have any portions that are incomplete now but will be complete by the time you begin the credential courses, then go ahead and indicate that in your plan for making sure those are completed. You also need to complete your basic skills requirement. The most common way of doing that is the CBEST, but there are some other ways, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into that application. Any questions so far? Yeah.
So we don't have to have the CSET completed
with prior to applying?
Exactly. Right, you just need to have a plan. So we ask you on the application, I'll show you a little bit about that, just to have a plan for where you're going to take it and when you're going to take it. But then that course, that 190 A and B, will support you in preparing for that and taking it. Think about now. Apply for Certificate of Clearance if you haven't already, if you're applying now. That's your fingerprinting. That is, it will take a while for you to actually receive your Certificate of Clearance, but for now you can apply and just give us evidence that you have applied for that.
Just to let you know, I got mine in less than a week.
Oh, wow.
So I had just applied for it as soon as like I had talked to you, and I went and got it done the next day, and then I got it the following week.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's good. It's
Yeah.
happening fast.
Great.
Right now.
Great to hear,
Yeah.
And then think about a plan for the CSAT. Again, you don't need to have taken it, but you're thinking about a plan. You're asking your references to complete a reference form, and we're asking for 2 references. One from an academic reference, so one of your professors. If you're thinking about applying in the future, be thinking about which professor you might ask. It might be from your fieldwork course or really any academic course, and an experience-related reference. So maybe one of your supervisors in your fieldwork course. Or if you work out in the field for your job, that's a great reference as well. And then you start thinking about your personal statement and drafting that. You want it to really be a final draft by the time you submit it. So the more you kind of think about it before you sit down to write, the more developed your ideas might be.
And it's okay to have somebody to look at it, your statement. Not necessarily somebody will write for you. That's a different story, right? After you finalize, drafted your, right before you finalize, get some help. Yeah, it's okay to get an idea, but you need to finalize your own paper.
So how and when can you apply? Applications are going to be accepted every spring, so that February 1st. So if you're someone thinking about the future, then you'll be doing it this time next year. If you're applying now, you have a few more days to get that all together. So if there's space, we'll consider applications after. So if you look at this and you go, oh my gosh, there's no way I can have it all done by February 1st, but maybe I can have it done by the 10th, go ahead and still submit it, and as long as we have space, we'll still review your application. It's just going to depend on the space. Notification early April, and it's currently only open to child development majors, which I think is all of you. Are you child development? Yeah, so do you want to talk about application?
No, I was just wondering her name. We didn't get her name.
Vanessa, nice to meet you. And so, how serious are you guys are at this time? Let's just, so 5, absolutely, I'm submitting by this, February 1st, or I will just write and submit, and although I will be done by completing my application by probably April 10th, something like that. 5, and maybe not right now, or 3, I'm thinking, maybe. Can I see? Okay.
Or between a 4 and a 5.
Okay, 5 and Brazil? 3. Okay, great. Yes. Okay, let's convince them to complete my favorite first. 2 of you.
So we're just going to go through the requirements. The website is here, and it's also on, I think you have the flyer. This is actually the application, and we can email you the link also because we have the list of your emails. So we can send you some follow-up information from here. But this is literally copied and pasted. These white boxes here are copied and pasted from the actual application. So the requirements, the first is that you need to have unofficial copies of all your transcripts, and that's even if you're a SacState student, an unofficial copy. So go into your student center and just save that as a PDF so that you can submit it. And it actually will not allow you to submit it in the application, so you need to email it. So that information is all here. So your transcripts, that tells us your GPA, it also tells us your coursework. We'll be verifying your prerequisite courses with your transcripts, but also there's a little table on the application that we're asking you to fill out. So it says, did you take Child Development 35? And if you took it here, easy, it's at CSUS. If you took it elsewhere, then we're asking you what class did you take, and what term did you take it in. So all that information will be asked for. So just make sure, we don't always remember exactly what the class was called or what term we took it in or what grade we got. So just make sure you kind of gather up all that information so, so you have it there to enter. There are some approved prerequisite courses, so if you did take courses elsewhere or you need to take courses elsewhere, then those are some places to look to get that information. Experiences. So there's a template on the application that we're asking you to use. So what you'll do is copy this template into an Excel file or Word or however you choose to do it, and then fill in your experiences. And then you'll save it and submit that.
Yeah, write the recent experiences first. Yeah.
And you want like all of our experience? Because I have experience like as a para that goes back like 10 years.
You know, as long as you think that 45 hours are very unique to meet the requirement, you're fine. You don't have to go to 10 years ago.
Okay.
Just last year or 2, 3.
Just
Yes.
for 45
Yeah.
hours?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is your basic skills requirement. So like I said, the most common is going to be to pass your CBEST, but there are alternatives. Like if you took the SAT or ACT to get into college, there are certain scores that would satisfy that requirement. So if you took those tests or an AP test, make sure you check the website and see if you've met it in another way before you go take the CBEST. I think it's $550 for math and $500 for English, just because I happened to look yesterday for the SAT. Then also for your CSET, we want to know how and when you plan to complete that CSET. Maybe you've already taken some sections and passed them. Great, you can submit verification of that. But if not, we're asking you to look into where they are so that you can think about a location near you that you'd like to take it, when you could take it. You don't have to sign up right now, but when do you think you would probably take these different sections? Would you take them all at once? And again, we'll talk about it and we'll support you, but we want you to come in with kind of an idea of what your plan is. And maybe you're really weak in one or two or all of these areas. What are you going to do? Is there coursework you need to take? Is there certain areas that you really want to study? So that's kind of what this is for. So again, this is a template that you'll create for yourself and complete that and submit it. Any questions about that? Certificate of Clearance, we already talked about. You need to apply. There is a link from the application. There are a lot of links from the actual application instructions. So if you ever want more information, go ahead and open up that application and take a look at some of those links. And for example, the CCTC website for Certificate of Clearance is linked there. Reference forms, there's the link there to request your references. Make sure you talk to your references first though, because you don't just want to put their name in there and then they receive an email, oh, this person asked you for a letter. Well, it's kind of nice if you get their agreement that they can write you a strong letter. Often I'll recommend that students ask, can you write me a strong letter of recommendation?
And this time is a reference. It's not a former, like a 2-3 pages long recommendation letter. So we are requiring, it's a reference. Check up, it's like about 20 questions, like a statement. And then it says 1, 2, 3, and then no answer, like that. So I do all the time because of a lot of students request me, and then I just check it based on your performance and the characteristics. That's all.
So it's a form.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier.
Yeah, online form.
Right.
So easy. Yes.
So make sure you talk to them, give them some time. So if you haven't already requested your letters and you're applying now, go do it right now.
Yeah.
And then when you are requesting your letters, make sure you choose it asks you which program you're applying for. This is what you would choose. You need the email and name of each reference, which you would probably have, but again, as you're gathering up your materials, that's what you're going to need. And then you're going to need to complete the form twice because you're going to need to complete it once for each person from whom you request a letter.
Maybe we can email these.
This is all on the application, so we'll email the link for the application. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I meant the whole slide.
Oh, you mean
the
the
slide.
slide? We can do that. We
Would
will
that be helpful?
email this slide, yes.
Do you want to talk about personal statement?
Oh, personal statement, yes. Our university, especially special education teaching branch, we really believe that teaching credential branch candidates, we prepare you to be socially just teachers who has a growth mindset with a social justice as well as inclusive in mind, which means inclusive practices. Regardless of students' disability degree, we wanted to have all children, all students be in a co-curriculum based. So that's what we want you to be a teacher leaders, to be agent of change and committed to equity and inclusion in culturally and linguistically diverse schools and communities. So all professors are very eager to train and equip and help you to become that kind of teachers in this area. We are the change agent, and our programs, especially these dual credential programs, are top one in this area. A lot of school district HR directors and special education directors try to grab our graduates first, but we don't have enough product. So we cannot meet the school district. That's why we open this kind of fast track with like you who are all excellent students to provide more teachers in this area. So we wanted to see that when you write your personal statement, please write 1 or 2 pages long. Don't go 10 pages long pages, because we are not looking for that. We just want your essence. What kind of person you are, based on your own experience, what's your commitment? Are you agree with our mission statement? Again, social justice, inclusive practices, growth mindsets. Those are the key terms that we wanted to see, and so that you can describe your motivation for teaching and this kind of students in this area. Okay, and so again, it'll take some time. If I write a 10 pages long paper, it's easier than writing a 1 page, kind of in essence of my personal statement. So start now and then draft and then have somebody read it, provide the feedback, and then do it again, and then submit the final version. So edit, edit, edit. Yes? And so submit your best writing with evidence that you are going to become a good teacher that we really want you to become after the program. Right? Okay. Yes. So that's it, right?
Yeah, so you want to gather up everything, because when you go to, and when you click here, it takes you to the application, and it's a form that cannot be saved, or it can be saved once. So you want to have all your documents. So that's why you have this detailed instruction sheet, so you can gather up all your documents. It tells you what to name each document, and then when you actually click here, it'll be just uploading things. And do that carefully, of course, because you've just spent so much time preparing all these documents. So make sure they're all in there, and
so put everything together.
I have a file on my
click
computer
and
already.
then do it at once.
Yes. So some important reminders, like I just said, prepare and label with the appropriate file names before you start that application. If an element is in progress or incomplete, submit a file for how and when it will be completed. So I kind of mentioned that earlier as well. So for example, I know at least one student is doing some hours right now, so she's not going to have 45 hours by February 1st. So in that table, she'll write what her site is and how often she plans to be there, and then we'll need some verification at the end. Request your reference forms now, and complete your application early. If possible, don't wait till February 1st, because what if there's technical issues or something? So just a general life strategy. Try not to wait to the last minute. And this slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So feel free to contact us if you have any questions, or do you have any now?
Yeah.
I do.
You do?
But
Okay.
they're kind of personal questions. Would I be
Okay.
able to speak with you shortly
Yeah.
after? Okay.
Yes. Any questions?
Yeah, I mean, this is so awesome, and I have no idea about this program, but I don't think I qualify for it.
Why?
Because I'm early childhood education, and you guys are only offering it for the elementary confirmation, correct?
We'd have to look
Yeah,
at your
yeah,
courses, because
yeah.
it may work out that it's not gonna help you as much, so we wanna look at what you've taken and what you have left, and make sure that it would be, for some students, it doesn't end up being an accelerated pathway, because you have
Right,
to take.
and that's what I'm thinking, that
Yeah.
it would be an accelerated,
Mhm.
it is my junior year, and I'm almost
Almost
done
done,
too.
right, yeah.
But I was like,
Yeah.
I wish I could learn about this too.
Yeah.
But it's super awesome.
We
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
started, it's just,
Yeah.
we just started.
Yes,
it's
you
a
guys are
pilot.
first group.
Amazing.
First group, yes.
Yeah, we could look, so another option is to start your senior year, at least you can be in some credential courses, but like I said, it'll depend on kind of
Mhm.
what you've
Yeah,
taken.
yeah, where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have our early childhood special education credential program, so maybe that will be the good one for you. Yes. Rosia, any questions? Yeah?
Not to
Yeah.
put you on the spot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, huh?
Okay. It is a lot, but three of us are here, and then you have our contact information. And anytime you are, putting together questions, ask us. And then you can stop by our office, and then we'll go over with you in person, because we really want to have a cohort.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because this is exciting program.
Super exciting.
Yeah, super excited.
Now, can you say a little bit about the intern teacher?
Okay. Intern teachers are different from the regular student teacher, as you know. So dual credential program, currently we offer it as a 4-semester program. So by the 3rd semester, all students are completing their multiple subject credential. But eventually they want to be the specialist, right? So 4th semester, they are completing their mild, moderate education specialist credential or other credentials as well. Our, school district special education directors, principals, especially HR directors, they know about our program already because we've been doing last, 10 years. So by the 3rd semester, they keep asking me who will be graduating next spring with a multiple subject and mild credential. So they try to give the job from at the end of the 3rd semester. So 4th semester, a lot of students get jobs as an intern teacher in special education because they already got the 3 semesters of coursework and student teachings already they did in the field. So they have experience, worked in the classroom in gen ed and special ed, both settings. So by the time the final semester, some students are exceptional. They can be a classroom teacher. I'm not saying it's an easy job, because you are still students taking classes from us, nighttime. Our courses we offer from 4 o'clock or 4:30 until 10, so that you can do student teaching or you work during the daytime. You come to us because the school finishes 2:30 to 3:30 in between, right? Grade level. So we start our first class at 4 or 4:30 and finish at 7, and then we start another course at 7 to 9:50. So that we try to offer courses back to back so that you do not have to come. If you are taking 4 courses, we'll try to put them back to back, Tuesday and Thursday, so that you don't have to come to our campus Monday through Thursday. We don't offer courses on Friday for the credential programs. So we try to make it convenient, but we do not want to alter down our curriculum. So it's very, I don't want to say aggressive, but it's not accelerated program. It's a really good program in this area. That's why our candidates are very popular to get a job, and no problem to get a job in this area. Okay.
That's what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Our
what we,
end goal.
yeah, we need you guys
Yeah.
to teach, yes, in special education. And you came a little bit later, but any questions?
So I do have a question. So I
Sure.
still have to take Child Development 137. Would I still be able to apply for the program?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're completing your child development coursework along with
Oh, okay.
the credential.
Yeah. It's kind of all blended into child development and, you know, special education, general education, all blended into. Yeah. It took us a long time to create this pathway. Yeah. Yes.
I was so sad when it was first taken down. I was like, no, where did it go? I needed that.
Yeah,
And
okay.
for some reason, the link
Yeah.
that I saved
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
work anymore.
And then
so.
we figured that you are the right people, and then really perfect people actually to advertise this program out to your relatives and friends, you know, anybody you think that are, you know, are interested in this kind of program. Because we really want to have at least 15 this time, first cohort. It'll be easier for us to operate the active program as a cohort, not blended into the regular credential program. Yeah, because you are special.
Well,
You're
yeah.
accelerated special program. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming. And yeah, we will see you at the interview.